Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to be back with you guys. Yes, I have returned safely from Cuba and it was an amazing trip and I can't wait to go back. I am still planning on coming out with a vlog of my travels, but that is hella editing that I am just putting off at the moment because even just thinking about it, I'm like getting stressed. I took so many pictures, so much video, just because the experience for me was something I can't even put into words right now, and I really want to have as much footage and as much just everything as possible to be able to, commemorate the experience, but also to be able to share it with you guys so you can see exactly why I loved it so much. Like, your girl was even recording, what food we were eating. I will be on that. I can't give you a specific date for when it'll be up, but trust, you'll know about it. I'm pretty sure you guys will be good at keeping me accountable. But today I'm coming with you guys with a little bit of a heavier topic. I've been back for a little over a week now, and there is this big ongoing discussion, outrage, and just overall confusion in regards to the number of missing Black and brown girls in DC. And of course, this is something that is near and dear to me. I work in the DC public charter school system. I go to school in DC, born and raised in the DC metropolitan area. So when I heard about this, of course, I became enraged as well, but I wanted to take a moment to sort of collect my thoughts on it, to really gain some more information before I came out here to discuss it with you guys. Like I said in my previous videos, about why I created this channel, I definitely want to stick to that in regards to sort of building a sense of community, knowledge, awareness, but also to talk about books. In this video, I won't be talking about any books, so if that's something that you only come to my channel to see, I'm sorry. Check in with me next time. But this is where my focus is really going to be during this video. So during my commute to work, I really listen to morning radio a lot. And in particular, WKYS 93.9, shout them out because they have been doing a phenomenal job with keeping the community up to date about what's been going on, especially with me being out of the country. I had no idea what the situation was coming back. This past Tuesday, I believe it was the 21st, they came on the air and they were talking about a town hall meeting that was going to be held at a DC public charter school in regards to the uproar and response of the community in regards to these missing girls. I think during 1 week period, 14 girls have been reported missing, but there was no media coverage. There was no response from local law enforcement or city officials. And so, of course, the families and the communities of those missing girls were outraged, as I said. And that's pretty much what the town hall was, to allow everyone to come together and to really talk about the issue at hand. So I've been trying to do my due diligence in finding specific resources and research. I could not attend the town hall meeting just because I was trying to get back into the swing of things with being back stateside. However, WKYS did a great job. Quicksilver and Danny Starr, those are the two hosts on the radio show. They actually hosted the town hall meeting as well, and they were kind enough to record the entire town hall meeting and post it on their website, which is where I watched the video. Now, of course, since then, some of you may have seen celebrities tweeting and reposting certain things about the missing girls in DC. I would like to say, of course, as all you guys know, but this has not been made national news. We do not hear about this on CNN or anything like that. It's sort of been a little, blurb at the end of articles and things like that. So, and it's a lot of hearsay, a lot of, DC officials going back and saying this information is incorrect or outdated. Then, other people saying, there's 14 girls missing in one day. So, of course, before I started, repeating any of that, I wanted to make sure that I did my best to get more accurate information. I believe at the start of 2017, there were about 500 reported missing cases. I'm not sure if these were all young girls or if they were just children between the ages of 14 and 18, but it was definitely more so Black and Hispanic young girls being reported missing. Of course, you know, it really triggered me in a way. I'm like, what's going on? Why haven't I heard about this? Why haven't I received any sort of Amber Alert? Like, I haven't received one of those in like a year almost. So I thought, you know, something was going on with my service. So, but I think right now, as of Saturday, I saw a report that there are only 22 open cases. And I say only as in, you know, that's a huge step down from the 500, but still 22 missing girls active, and we do not know their whereabouts or their safety is definite cause for alarm and concern. I'm going to be honest, like, this isn't my first time sitting down and trying to record my thoughts on this, just because I believe the first time I was more so very in my feelings about it, and I hadn't really done too much research yet, and it was very accusatory about who's not doing what, rather than being a solution focused video, which is more so what I'm about, is like, let's find solutions to these issues, let's discuss all of that. So I sort of sat down and I came up with sort of 3 spheres that I feel are lacking in the moment, or that need to be beefed up in order to prevent or implement some sort of, you know, protective factors for these young girls. Okay, sorry, my camera wasn't allowing me to record anymore, so I had to delete some things. But where I left off was basically saying, you know, there's sort of like this debate on where does the accountability and responsibility lie for when stuff like this goes down. Does it lie with the individual? Does it lie with the family and community resources? Does it is it dependable upon, you know, the resources and law enforcement and things like that? Where does the accountability and responsibility lie for these children? Make no mistake about it, regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstances, I feel as though when it boils down to it, the responsibility for these children are the adults. I mean, that is any adult that's living, breathing, working, moving within our communities. They are responsible for these children. The first thing to sort of move forward with this and make our communities better and stronger, the first thing is to stop making excuses. What I'm noticing in the narrative of law enforcement and city officials is that they often justify the numbers of reported missing young girls or missing children in regards to as, oh, they're runaways. A lot of times they're frequent flyers to where this is not their first time running away. And, you know, so that's why we don't put them on the news. That's why we don't post out flyers, because eventually they'll turn up, because that's what's happened in the past. So let me just make this clear. There is nowhere on their physical person where it says, I am a runaway. Well, being labeled as a runaway does not protect these children from being abducted still. It does not protect them from being raped, from being, you know, mauled, killed, robbed, from being sold into human and sex trafficking. You know, it just because they're a runaway does not mean that we don't look for them, or we don't make this a cause for concern, and we don't make it a high alert situation. Runaway or not, whether they have a record, whether they are gang member affiliated or not, whether they are, you know, in the foster care system, whether or not their parents are even, or guardians are even looking for them, somebody needs to care, somebody needs to be responsible and accountable, and somebody needs to realize that whether they're considered a runaway or not, they need to be put on high alert status until they are found and until they are returned safely to where they are supposed to be. It shouldn't just be left at that. If young children are running away, or if they are frequent flyers, or if they do have a record, or if they do have gang affiliation of some sort and they are then running away, it is for a reason. And it is our jobs as the adults to look into what's going on, look into them as an individual case-by-case basis, and make sure that once they are found, we find out why they were running, to that they are out of harm's way completely, and that they receive the necessary resources, counseling, support that they need to return to a stable way of being within their community. So back to these 3 spheres that I was talking about. First, I want to address the individuals. So yes, the age group is between 14 and 18, if I'm not mistaken. So this is sort of like middle school, high school age children that are going missing. They do have some responsibility and accountability for themselves and their actions, right? To my young people, I want to highlight some things that you guys need to be conscious of and be made aware and be made accountable for. One, a lot of this has to do with the social media era and where technology is right now, is that you feel the need, a lot of kids don't feel the need to check in anymore. Back in my day, before everyone had a cell phone and before everyone was just, at their fingertips, there was this culture that kids had to check in. Kids had to notify their parents where they were at all times. Otherwise, they would be nowhere but at home. When the street lights came on down the street, everyone would scatter because they knew that if they weren't in the house, by the time the street light came on down the street from their house, that was that ass. It needs to be the same way, kids. Like, you need to check in. I don't care if you're just going to Wendy's after school and you're coming right back. I don't care if, your parents don't get home until late. If you can tweet and text and do all of that, you can let somebody know where you are, who you're with, and what you're doing. It may seem like a hassle and you may think you're too grown, but guess what? You're not too grown to get snatched. You're not too grown, because I'm not too grown to get snatched. Okay, I'm only 5'2", and I look like a high schooler, so I can easily be picked up. Okay, age, size doesn't matter. If someone's ready to make that move on you, they can. It's another thing to complain about you being at risk, but then you yourself not taking the necessary action to prevent yourself from getting into harm's way. You see what I'm saying? You can't, complain the water's too deep if you jumped in there in the first place. What I need from my young people to do is to be more responsible and accountable. And yes, it's going to seem like a drag, but guess what? I'm 25 and I still check in with my parents, okay? When me and my friends, when we part our separate ways, we're like, hey, everybody text me when you get home, because there's no guarantee that they're going to get home safely. And if something does go down, they're going to have someone say, hey, who saw them last? Hey, where were they going? Hey, how long had they been there for? And it's this sort of culture that I want the young people to start building up, is to look out for each other. Don't let your one friend separate from the group and walk down the street by themselves just because they're walking in an opposite direction. How about the whole group? Yeah, it might be an extra 5-minute walk. Walk them home and then go the opposite way. Don't just let, your friends walk down by themselves. Don't just let, your friend go kick it with somebody random they met, through social media, but you have no idea who they are. It's just this culture of being aware, being conscious to the fact that even though you're young, your decisions and your choices and your behaviors still have consequences. And it's sad to say that young kids have to be that in the know, but as technology progresses, as we progress as a people, and as opportunities are made available, as we get stronger, so do the dangers, so do the risks, and nothing is disconnected. Also, watch for this social media, because while you guys are sharing your location, while you guys are on Snapchat like, oh, I'm so bored in the library drinking my Starbucks by myself on 14th Street, while it may seem harmless and, social media and technology has made it seem like we're not touchable in a way because we're on this social media, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's been watching you and who's making note of where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, and how long you're going to be doing it for. You don't need to share everything on social media. It's going to be hard, but you guys need to make sure that you're being responsible with the information that you guys are putting out there. The next sphere is the community. It takes a village, and that is as true today as it was back during the Civil Rights Movement, as it was during the Revolutionary War. It takes a fucking village. We can't sit up here as adults and complain about the actions of our youth when it was our job to make sure they got to where they were supposed to be. Of course, it's not just only nurture, it's about the environment as well. But that's what the community is, their environment. So when I talk about adults within the community, I'm talking about our teachers, I'm talking about our pastors, I'm talking about city officials, law enforcement, I'm talking about the subway deli man, I'm talking about the auto repairman, I'm talking about, you know, the homeless guy on the street that people bypassed. You know, they're watching too. They're a part of your community as well. So while we're sitting here speculating as to who is accountable, like I said before, it is us as the adults. We are the same way these kids are responsible for their actions, we are responsible for them. And of course it's going to be a struggle, and of course you can only lead a horse but so far, but you can't make them drink the water, right? Well, you can try, okay? So first I'm going to tackle law enforcement and city officials. You guys need to be more a part of the community. There's not a day where I'm not walking or driving through DC and all I see is parked cop cars, and they're just sitting there. Sitting inside the car, they're on the computer, they're on their phone, they sleep, they're eating. And I understand everybody has to eat. Everybody has lunch break. But why not eat inside the store? Why not be walking around in your community patrolling rather than sitting in your car waiting for some shit to pop off? City officials, why does it take for something like this to pull you out of wherever to come and talk to your town and your constituents and the people who sat here and elected you? It should be a town hall every week if that's the case. And I feel like that's a big part, is that these officials and people making decisions aren't actively trying to be a part of the community. Now, I have been to a town hall before, and it was October, November of last year. It was a lot of panel discussion, you know, where questions would be proposed to the panel of law enforcement and city officials, but those were pre-doctored questions, right? So I'm like, who's coming up with these questions? We spent an hour and a half listening to the panel, you know, disclose what law enforcement is, what they do, and their struggles. When it came to having the actual people address the panel directly, we were given like 15 minutes, and only like 8 people got a chance to have their say or ask their questions to the panel. That's not a functional town hall meeting to me. I was like number 50. That we have to be better and be more efficient and effective within our communities. And also, I feel like we need to get out of this mode, law enforcement, of being reactive. You don't do anything until something happens or while it's happening. I need more preemptive measures. Where are, you know, if something like this goes down, there needs to already be like a search party put into place, right? There needs to already be designated officials that print out the flyers, that post them up, so that the family doesn't even need to be hassled with having to organize all of that. There needs to be more resources and more means that, you know, these families can utilize when stuff goes down, because while families have to jump through all these hoops, just, you know, wait 24 hours, then they have to meet certain criteria to even have their kids picture posted on the MPD site, or even to have the news mention them. You know, it's just little things like this that I feel like there's a disconnect. Also, more follow-ups with the families. Like, if my kid went missing for a few days and then they came back, I want somebody to check in on me. You know, refer my family to counseling. Or maybe the kid's in a foster family. Maybe you guys need to do some investigating as to what's going on with their dynamic, to where this kid does not feel safe or comfortable to reside with these designated guardians. Where are my Amber Alerts? I don't care if they ran away for 24 hours and then came back. Give me an alert so we can be on the lookout, but then also give us updates. Like, that's another issue, is that these systems aren't being updated fast enough. They're not giving accurate information. So when you do have concerned community members that are looking out and that are actively trying to help, you know, they're not given enough information, and the community is not being updated on what's going on. If you found someone, or if you feel like, you know, the information is skewed to where the community only hears about who's missing, whose fault is that? If a child is found safely, make the community aware. If a child is still at large and you have updated information as to where they were last seen, what they were wearing, make the community aware. And again, it begins in the home. My parents, my guardians, my aunties, my uncles, grandmas, older brothers, older sisters, whoever is taking care of these kids, foster parents, you guys have got to be more vigilant. While, like I said, technology is booming and things are changing within our society and our values, don't let social media raise your kids. Don't let the TV raise your kids. You need to be in the know at all times, okay? Like, be nosy. There is no such thing as doing too much when you're a parent, okay? I'm gonna tell you, like my mom told me, there are no locked doors in my house. So whatever is up under this roof, that's all me. That phone, guess what? I pay the bill. I don't even care if you might pay half of the bill. That's all me. Oh, where you going? Oh, you're not trying to check in? Guess what? Then you won't be going. That's what. You need to know who their friends are. You need to know the first, last name, and the nickname. You need to know who their parents are, where their parents reside. And guess what? If their parents are divorced, you need to know where both their parents live if your kids are going to be over there. And while you can't know all of your friends, all of your kids' friends, you can at least know top 5. So you know if at any point in time they're at least with one of these top 5 people. I understand that now that times and expectations have changed, and so we have more parents that have to work, 2 jobs. More parents that have to work longer hours for longer time. We have grandparents having to go back to work. And we have parents having to go get 2nd and 3rd degrees just to make ends meet. It takes away from the time that you get to spend with your children, that you get to monitor your children. But we have to do better. I don't want to hear any more of this, oh, that's Snapchat, that's social media, that Facebook, that's that kid stuff. I don't mess with that. I don't know nothing about that. You need to know about it, and you need to have one. Guess what? If your kids are going to have one, then you need to be all up and through there. You need to know it better than them. Until they get up out of your house and start paying some bills, you got to be 2 steps ahead of them at all times. Guess what? These predators are on it. These dangers and risks, they don't care. They do not care, and they will come for your kids. Put it to you this way. If your job depended on you knowing about social media, knowing about how to track cell phones, or knowing what's going on in your kids' text messages and things like that, guess what? Y'all will be on it in the next 15 seconds signing up for accounts. So I don't want to hear this whole generational age gap thing, because it's all about what you make time for and what you need to consider as important. Because just like it could be your job at risk if you don't know these things, it's your kids' lives that could be at stake if you don't stay up and current with what's going on. Lay eyes on them when they leave in the morning. What are they wearing to school, right? Okay, if you're going somewhere after school, you need to check in with me as soon as you get home and when you leave. Everywhere, okay? And also, make sure that you're holding your kids accountable, right? If they fuck up, if they forget to check in, if they forget to do something, or if they're not abiding by your rules, then there needs to be consequences to those actions. However you decide to discipline your kids, you need to make sure you stay consistent. Because it's okay to respect your kids. It's okay to, to consider their opinions and things like that. But don't forget who is the authority in the household. If you're not there to check them, kids will go out and do whatever they want. And at most times it's going to be some dumb shit. When something goes down, the first person they're going to blame is you. So parents, just be on the up and up. Then, of course, there's the systematic, right? There's a reason why there hasn't been any mainstream media coverage, or, the current president of the United States hasn't addressed this issue, even though he lives in Washington, D.C. There's a reason why, as soon as a black or brown girl goes missing, they're instantly labeled as a runaway, right? And it's because they're black and brown girls who are in DC. Okay? Let's not be, had it been a white girl gone missing in DC, the city would have been shut the fuck down. Make no mistake about it. She'd have been all over the news. Everybody would have had search parties and watchdogs looking for her. It's this idea that our society does not value black and brown children, especially black and brown girls, as something to be cared for, as something that is precious and needs to be protected. They're seen as more able to withstand things than other types of girls. And it's sad because when you hear things like, oh, she has a history of running away, or oh, she's gotten in trouble, or oh, she has a mouth, or this, that, and the third, she's still valuable, right? And it's society saying that when we don't post these things, when we don't talk about these young girls being missing, it's saying that they're not worth the trouble. They're not worth the effort to utilize our media time to talk about them. And it's just, we are at risk. And it's not just because, you know, Black and brown girls tend to live in lower socially economic statuses and places like that. It's also because we are the targets 90% of the time. Black and brown girls are often the target of sex trafficking, abuse, rape, you know, and these are statistic facts. We need to be more vigilant in making sure that these girls don't just become another statistic. It shouldn't just be the mothers and sisters and brothers and fathers within the Black community talking about this. It's not just in urban areas. It's happening all over. Hell, in Native country, young Native American women and children have been disappearing by the thousands into human and sex trafficking and being raped and murdered, and you hear nothing about it. And then they wonder why in Native American populations they have the highest suicide rate starting at the age of 13. Okay, there's something systematically wrong here. There needs to be more solidarity, you know, needs to be more action. While we can march for women's rights, I haven't seen anything organized as far as what are we going to do about these missing Black and brown girls? How can we help? You know, from our feminists, from our, you know, our strong coalition of women that we saw not too long ago in DC. There needs to be more news coverage. I don't care if all the girls are found. The fact that they went missing in the first place needs to be addressed. And make no mistake, just like climate change, human and sex trafficking, that's a real thing. That's happening. The United States is one of the biggest import and exports, if not the biggest import and export to human and sex trafficking. Okay, and in areas that have ports, such as Washington, DC Metropolitan area, New York, Southern Florida, California, these are areas that are high volume for missing girls and missing young children into the sex and human trade. I would rather hear about this than some damn FBI investigation into Trump. He gonna say what he gonna say. He gonna do what he wanna do. How about we get some of that FBI power to look for these girls, to put out coalitions in these communities where there's high risk to prevent these things, right? You can hire out the FBI apparently to find 2 missing jerseys for Tom Brady, but I haven't heard any response from them in regards to what's going on in DC. Organ trafficking and stealing among Black and brown communities, right? All these unnatural deaths and missing persons, and we know there's been a couple cases on the news where doctors have been found to be selling organs on the black market, like, or increasing gang violence. Like just last week, I think it was, that a young girl was brutally raped in the bathroom at her school by 2 other male students. Like, come on, we need to be on the up and up, and we need to be doing more preemptive measures, and we need to be having action from the community. So this is a call to action to the communities, for everyone to stand in solidarity, to be vigilant in protecting our young Black and brown girls, and to just be aware. Be aware of what's going on in your kids' lives. Children, you need to be, don't be too caught up to be too grown to check in, to be too grown to let people know where you are, or you need to be aware of your surroundings and how, you know, your actions and decisions might play out. And, you know, I just pray that all the girls are found and returned safely to their families. And I pray that the families and the young children are given counseling because this is a traumatic experience. You know, anybody going through a scare like that, whether their child is returned safely or not, is going to be hard on their psyche and their emotional well-being. Instead of pointing fingers at who's to blame, well, we just need to to just do better, be more, do more, and just, yeah. That's all I got for you guys. I'm going to try and see if WKYS still has the link to the town hall video, and I will share that link down below. I will keep you guys updated on any of my findings with what's going on in DC. If you happen to be in the area, I will try and keep posted about any events or any other town hall meetings that might be coming up. And you guys just stay proactive in your communities and with the youth, because like I said, these are our children, this is our future, and without them, we are nothing. So peace, love, and happy reading, happy life, happy all of that. I'll see y'all next time.